All right, this is my explanation of The Writer by Richard Wilbur. The poem really depends upon metaphor, and there are two central metaphors going on in the poem. The first one is that of a ship. The speaker imagines that his daughter is writing this story in the prow of the house. In other words, the front of the ship. His house is the ship, and she's taking this journey within the confines of the speaker's home. He imagines that the light is breaking over the windows outside her room, which is actually just trees. The sound of her typewriter keys sounds like her pulling up a chain as if she's lifting anchor and ready to sail away. He recognizes that she's dealing with some heavy things, but ultimately it's just a passage. It's just this moment she's going through, and that word passage actually has a couple of meanings. It indicates that he's wishing her a happy voyage, that wherever she's going in her imagination, that she have a good trip. But also maybe that her writing gets done well, that she writes a good passage and she gets this down. And he's very self-satisfied at this point in the poem. But this sort of train of thought is interrupted by her silence, which he even sees as a kind of rejection of his thoughts and his easy figure, this easy metaphor he's slipped into. And in the silence that follows, and really in this bunched clamor, this almost violent outburst that is followed by yet more silence, this is really a kind of turn. The speaker's ideas are no longer turned toward that metaphor of the house as a kind of ship. Instead, he starts to think about this bird that is trapped in that same room. And the bird becomes a metaphor really for what's actually going on for the daughter. She's not taking a safe trip. She's not pleasantly contained. She is, in fact, like that bird, desperately trying to find her way out. And so the speakers, from this stanza on, it's all strung together with semicolons. There's no stop until the second to last stanza. And he is on a kind of journey here. He is thinking about this helpless hour as they watched, this string of adjectives indicating a real living thing, but almost sort of contradictory. It's dark, but it's iridescent. It's mysterious, and yet it's glowing. He knows what kind of life is there, and like his daughter, maybe, here's this sort of unknowable quality that he wants so much to protect and preserve, and yet he understands that there's violence here. It's bloodied, trying to find a way out. So the phrasing here gets sort of interrupted frequently. He employs a lot of enjambment as one line feeds into the next. He certainly has a lot of caesuras going on, where drop like a glove to the hard floor or the desktop, and wait then, humped and bloodied, where the natural flow of the lines is interrupted by his own sort of staggering, coming to grips with what exactly is going on. And so that metaphor sort of puts him in a different state of mind, and he recognizes the sense of relief that comes when finally the bird, these progressive tenses sort of interrupt the past tense, right? It lifted off and beating a smooth course, clearing the sill of the world. It's just almost, he can see it happening. And it dawns on him that this is the seriousness with which his daughter is working. It's life or death. And when he comes back to wish what he wished her before, it's a lucky passage, but the meaning of that word passage has changed. It's no longer a safe trip through her writing. It's no longer even good writing. It's a safe trip into adulthood, into independence, and ultimately a passage away from him, something that he's sort of come to realize is what's necessary for his child, even if it is a sad sort of realization for him. And that's the